Hi, Daniel here. I would like to introduce you to basic HTML and HTML5. HTML is also known as hypertext markup language. It is a programming language. It is a markup language used to describe the structure of web pages and websites users all over the internet. It uses special syntax and notations to organize and to give information about a page to the browser, so that the browser is able to interpret the code and then display based on what is the text and the code behind the website. So elements usually have opening and closing tags that surround and give meaning to the content. So in other words, it's a context. For example, there are different tag options to place around text and to show whether it is a header or heading, a paragraph or a list. For example, H1 is a top level heading. It could also be a title. P is denoting basically short for paragraphs. So this is a paragraph. This whole thing is a paragraph. And then OL is an ordered list. This is an element, just like this is an element, this is an element, this is an element as well. Inside there are multiple list items. LI is list items. OL is ordered list. So basically what this is when it's on the browser is like when the browser sees this code, right? This HTML code, it will display this. This is what it will display. So the hypertext part of HTML comes from the early days of the web in its original use case. Pages usually contain static documents that contain references to other documents, also known as links. These references contain hypertext links used by the browser to navigate to the reference documents so that the user can read the reference documents without having to manually search for it. We will discuss and explore links and hyperlinks inside the course. As web pages and web applications continue to grow more complex, the W3 consortium updates the HTML specification to ensure that a web page can show reliably on any browser. The latest version of HTML is HTML5, which is what we're going to be learning inside this class. This section introduces how to use HTML elements to add structure and meaning to your web content. Right. So in this, before we jump into the first class or the first lesson, and before we look at the curriculum, which we kind of looked at before, and we'll look at the curriculum multiple times inside the class. So upcoming lessons is what is inside this class. As you can see on the side of the navigation, is we're going to be exploring, saying hello to different HTML elements using headlines. I'm just going to paraphrase. Using paragraph elements, filling in placeholder text, commenting and uncommenting, deleting elements, and then we're going to be introduced to HTML5 elements, which are like the most updated version of HTML. The latest standard is HTML5, so there's new elements that are added all the time. For example, audio and a whole bunch of other like HTML5, like videos, audio, and things like that. We're going to explore this. I'm going to go in depth. I'm going to show you a few resources and examples of HTML5 elements. We're also going to add images to your website, as well as linking to external pages as well as internal sections of a page. So hyperlinking within a page using anchor elements, as well as external pages using hyperlinks and different targeting systems, where you can target open to a new window or open to a new tab. Nesting anchor elements within a paragraph, creating date links with hash symbol or pound sign or hashtag, whichever you prefer, and then adding links to images so that the image can become a link. So when you click on the image, it becomes a link, right? Creating bulleted unordered lists, the UUL, and ordered lists, the OL, which just saw previously. Creating text fields, where you can actually get people to input text, and then adding a text placeholder in a text field so that it tells people, like the user, what you want to put in there. You can put password, you can put email, you can put all kinds of stuff inside, depending on what you want the user to enter. It could be the name, user, password, email, their address, their postal code, the credit card information, for example. It could be anything in the text field. We'll kind of touch upon that later on in an example app that we're going to create inside this classes. Adding placeholder text, we did discuss that. I just mentioned that. Creating a form element, so like a form where you can get people's details, like the name, their first name, last name, email, address, phone number, additional text. And there's going to be a good example inside of this course. So adding a submit button to the form, adding a submit button. Obviously you need a button to submit the form. When you click on it, it submits the form, giving the server and the database data to manipulate. Using HTML5 to require a field so that the field must be entered. Like you must enter your first name, you must enter your email in order to proceed. So the submit button does not work without the required field being filled. And then we will look at how to create a set of radio buttons as well as a set of checkboxes. The difference between radio buttons are once you select one, it automatically in the background unselects the other radio button so that you can only select one at a time. But with checkboxes, you can select multiple checkboxes, like a multiple choice option. We'll see how it works inside the class. Creating radio buttons and checkboxes by default so that when the page first loads, it automatically populates the options, and it checks the first. Basically, it selects the first radio button and the first checkbox by default out of multiple buttons, out of multiple radio buttons, out of multiple checkboxes. And then how do you nest elements inside a single div element? Very, very important. Divs are like the most common element in HTML. Okay, then creating the doc type for an HTML document as well as defining the head and body. These two kind of goes together. Basically is regarding the structure of the HTML document. You need to declare doc type as well as the head and body of a HTML document. So let me show you quickly the code for this website, this web page I'm on right now. This is the source code. It starts with a doc type and a HTML element, then a head element, then a link element, and if you go down to the bottom around here, you would see that there's a style element as well, and this is a closing tag for it. You're going to understand all this and more about this later on, so don't be freaked out about this. But there's a closing head element, and then an opening body element, and the body element basically goes all the way to the bottom. I'll show you very soon. And there's a div element here and a class. Class are attributes. So let's look at the head. The head is all this code right here. From here, the head, see the head? From here to the bottom is the head element, right? Until the head here, which we saw here. And then the body encompasses everything else all the way down to the bottom until the body here. You see where my cursor is, the body, the closing tag for the body, and then it closes out the HTML as well. HTML is the parent element for everything. It encompasses the body and the head and everything else in the website. So the HTML element is this one, which ends around here. This is the beginning, and then obviously in the beginning there's a doc type, which we're going to learn more about in the course. So definitely looking forward to sharing with you and learning together with you. Teaching is a great experience to learn as well as to teach and to share knowledge. So I look forward to having you in this course. And like I said, there's going to be all these are going to be covered inside. There are 27 lessons. These 27 upcoming lessons are going to be inside the course. Thanks for watching this, and I'll see you inside. And if you have any questions, feel free to message me. There are ways to message me inside and to share and talk to other classmates. I look forward to you being in this class where we learn the basic HTML and HTML5.